Welcome, everyone, to another fantastic episode of Double Booked. Tonight's episode is a special one because I am joined by four powerhouse voices in the fantasy space: Adrian Gibson, MJ Kuhn, Greta Kelly, and Krystle Matar. Each of these amazing authors bring their own flavor of storytelling to the fantasy space. Now they have come together to create something new, a collection where beauty and decay intertwine, where stories bloom from the shadows, and where even the smallest spore can change everything. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's dig into the strange, the fantastic, and the beautifully unsettling world of the book of Spores. Please welcome my amazing guests, Krystle, Adrian, Greta, and MJ. How are y'all fantastic people doing today?
Good, man. That was quite the damn intro. Thank you so much.
For all of you are so amazing. I had to do something special.
I feel so welcome and so loved. It's great.
So I'm super excited to have all of you here. I have been looking forward to this since we went and discussed about this originally. So again, thank you so much for being here. But before we go through and dive into the world of Spores, I would love to go around the room to do a quick introduction for everybody. For anyone tuning in who may not be familiar with your work, can you go through and tell us who you are and what kind of stories you write? Greta, do you mind?
Sure, I can kick us off. I'm Greta Kelly. I am a fantasy author of the Warrior Witch duology as well as the Queen of Days. Queen of Days is my most recent one. It's a D&D inspired fantasy heist story about a bunch of fuck-ups who mess their way into a fight with a fallen god and have to save a city. And I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. MJ?
Yeah. Hi, I'm MJ Kuhn. I write fantasy about people that swear a lot and fight people with hatchets. So I'm best known for my duology, Among Thieves and Thick as Thieves, which has 6 thieves teaming up for a heist, but every member of the team is planning to screw over everybody else and take the loot. So that's me.
Adrian?
I am the author of
The
Mushroom
Mushroom
Blues.
Daddy.
Mushroom Daddy? That sounds way too sexual, Krystle. Get over here, Mushroom Daddy.
This is after dark.
Yeah, already overbooked.
How did you make it 1,000 times worse?
So I'm the author of Mushroom Blues. That's my debut novel. It is fungal punk noir. It's a police procedural set in a city inhabited by fungal people. So if you like murder mystery, police procedurals, that kind of thing, you'll really dig it. Josh and I had a conversation last year about it, actually, which was a ton of fun. I'm also the creator and co-host of SFF Addicts podcast, which both MJ and Greta neglected to mention. The 3 of us are the co-hosts of this podcast.
I got the book.
Thank you for being so gracious. I appreciate it.
Oh, we're in timeout, MJ.
Timeout. Yeah. Next interview, you guys are on a break. And on top of that, I'm an illustrator, book designer. I guess my wife called me a retired tattoo artist, which I found kind of cute. And a stay-at-home dad. So that's me.
Awesome.
Just that
Thank
short
you.
list of
Let me get the list out. All right. Here's how often.
Yeah, no, I need like a
left some
parchment.
stuff off,
I need
for
like
sure.
a parchment. Yeah. Mushroom Daddy got his parchment.
Oh my goodness. I need that. That's gonna be the new thing you have to put on there.
No, dude, someone in the comments said they called Josh Mushroom Daddy in high school because I don't know, were you dealing mushrooms or something?
We don't talk about that, Scott. We don't talk about those times in high school. Get out of here. Stop causing havoc.
There's
chaos in the comments.
My goodness.
I love it.
Krystle, introduce yourself.
Yeah, Krystle.
Yeah, I guess so. So my name is Krystle Matar, and I am, like Adrian said, I'm best known for Legacy of the Brightwash, and it's massive sequel, Legacy of Brick and Bone. They are gaslit fantasy, which is like late Victorian era, but they meld like some crime fiction and some epic fantasy, fight the system style, rise against the oppressive regime. And there's a lot of magic, and I'm working on the third book now, and like exploring all of that magic. So I'm like living my best life finally. 3 books. Damn those slow burns. And I'm also a columnist over at Grimdark Magazine and a blogger at Before We Go. And Michael R. Fletcher and I have a podcast called The Dripping Bucket. It's currently on hiatus, but we're talking about getting back into it after the holidays are over. And I think I got my full list. I think I did it this time.
That's awesome. And Dripping Bucket, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, The Dripping Bucket. So
Awesome.
Fletcher started that as like a joke where he wanted people in SFF to include like a Dripping Bucket pub in their books, and people started taking him up on it, and so now
it's gone far beyond what Michael originally intended.
And so there's this fun thing of like people will spot a Dripping Bucket in a novel and send Fletcher a picture, and it's expanded.
Now I have all kinds of ideas.
Yeah, science fiction and fantasy and trad and indie, and like it's all over the place. So then when we decided to do a podcast together, it had to be the Dripping Bucket. There was no choice.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna have to go through and check that out. Do you know when that's gonna? You guys thinking about doing that first quarter of 2026?
Yeah,
but you guys have like a backlog on YouTube, though,
we
right?
We do have a back catalog that we had Gareth Hanrahan on. We had we had Adrian on. It got crazy with Adrian. There's some stuff there to check out. And then
by this turn of events.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Krystle, and then throw Mike Fletcher into the mix. It's
Fletcher,
a recipe for chaos. Yeah.
So most of our episodes are pretty crazy, but Adrian set the bar pretty high.
Awesome. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to go through and check that out. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I do want to jump into the heart of this project. I would love to know how the seed of this project was planted. Where did the Book of Spores begin, and what pulled all of you into creating something together?
So basically, we're all part of Fanfi Addict, so the book blog Fanfi Addict. But MJ, Greta, and I primarily, we do SFF Addicts, which is kind of under the umbrella of the blog. And so there are people who are doing different things. There's like Fraser, who does mostly like YouTube content. Some people who are only reviews. Other people who do, like cover reveals and stuff like that. I think at this point there's like 50 plus people who are
so many people
who are doing stuff for Fanfi Addict, which is pretty crazy.
It's cool.
But there are so many authors in the group that it was kind of inevitable that we would come together and do a project together. And so we've been talking about doing an anthology for quite a few years now. But it was
started specifically as a joke, didn't it? Like it was
I mean, it started off as like a poll, which is basically like, here are the options. Like, do you want to do
an
anthology?
Most unhinged.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
not surprised by this.
It's like, do you want to do an anthology about cannibalism or like mushrooms or feet or whatever the fuck? Because everyone at Fanfi Addict is really messed up. But everyone voted
so far,
for
my
mushrooms.
short story has 2 of these 3 things in it.
You're like, I'm in. Either way.
So everyone voted on it, and mushrooms was the one that won. And this was not like me, kind of pushing everyone to like, let's do a mushroom anthology. This was entirely of their own devices, like choosing this as one of the poll options, and everyone being enthusiastic enough to like vote for mushrooms. And so it's kind of like, this was when I was still kind of like writing Mushroom Blues and like getting it ready for publication and everything like that. And then it was last year that things started to actually take shape, and Fraser Armitage was the one who kind of like pushed forward with, okay, like, who wants to be involved? Send me your pitches and everything like that. He put together with Elenia and I kind of this like idea of, Elenia Ariuto is one of our other co-editors, this basic pitch of like, here's a paragraph of the Book of Spores is a sentient fungal book that is traversing the multiverse and infecting different worlds. And every story in the anthology is a different world that the Book of Spores has infected. And whether that infection is perceived as good or bad is totally up to the authors, is totally up to the people in the world and the characters and everything like that. But that was what we gave everyone to run with. We were very lenient when it came to deadlines. We were very lenient when it came to genre. There's like a ton of genres. There's sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, but so many mixes of everything in between. And then on top of that, we just kind of gave people the freedom to be like, okay, the only thing you have to include in your story is something about the Book of Spores. It doesn't even have to be like central to the plot. It can even be sort of like a side reference to it. But it was really cool to see the ways in which everyone kind of creatively infused the Book of Spores into their particular stories. And so that whole process took like, I don't know, like a year and a half.
It's like
kind of thing.
3 years from the first one.
Yep,
Yeah.
pretty much. But like the actual stories arriving, it was kind of like, okay, Fraser was doing a lot of dev editing with people. And then it was earlier this year, like in the spring, that we started to sort of concretize everything. And that's when Eleni and I jumped in to kind of like look over the stories some more and to figure out like, okay, what's the organization of this anthology going to be like? And then over the summer, I was like, I went full on with the design and like the art direction side of things as well. Hired Jeff Brown as our cover artist. And then he delivered that cover in like early October.
So cool.
And basically we had all the stories and everything like that. We finally got the cover from Jeff. And Jeff and I worked on the typography and cover design together, and we're really, really happy with how it came out. I'd already started working on the interior design and everything like that, just to get a sense of like what it's going to look like and brainstorming some ideas. And basically we got to a point, it was like mid-October. So this is like 6 weeks ago, which is kind of crazy to think. I started talking to Fraser and Eleni about like, okay, so we know we've been wanting to do this on Kickstarter. That was the idea. Like we wanted to crowdfund this. This was the initial kind of path for us to publish this book, because we wanted to do a really cool deluxe edition and everything like that. And I started talking to them about like, okay, like when are we going to do this? What are timelines? Like, what are we thinking? And I think Fraser and Eleni had this idea of like, yeah, we'll do it this year. And I was like, it's very tight for us to do it this year.
This year now. Yeah.
And it's already like October. So what are we going to do? And so basically, like I talked to Krystle about her experiences with Merrick Books, which is basically like a project management company, but they handle a lot of things on the end of distribution and production and all that kind of stuff. So they work with the printers, they receive the books and everything like that, and they ship them and distribute them out to all the backers and the people who back the project. And so Krystle put me in touch with Merrick Books. I talked with Andrew AC Cobble, who runs Merrick Books, on a Friday. We set up a call for Monday, and I basically put together like an entire asset package of graphics and stuff for the Kickstarter over the weekend. And then when I talked to him on the Monday, I basically showed him everything I had.
You're ready to go.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, you're ready to go. And I was like, how early can we do this? And he was like, mid-November if you want. And I was like, all right, let's fucking go. And so,
let's go.
Yeah.
And so basically within the course of like a week, I put together all the graphical assets for the Kickstarter. I put together a book tour, which is what we're doing right now. I put together a cover reveal and everything like that. And we just went like full steam ahead, man. And it's been absolutely crazy. Yeah, like the cover reveal was way bigger than we expected.
Well, look at that cover. I mean,
yeah.
God.
I mean, if you want, if you can allow me to share some stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
So I can pull up some graphics for people just to see, just so we have some examples and whatnot. But yeah, basically like that cover reveal was way bigger than we expected. And after that, it was kind of a matter of like, all right, we're doing this. We're going all in. And from the moment we launched this project, like we funded in 50 minutes, which was absolutely insane. And now we're almost about like 400% funded. And so we're just like, this is our first experiment with Kickstarter. This is the first anthology that Fanfic Addict has done, and we're just unbelievably happy with how everything's gone. And we're super grateful to all the people that have helped us, you know, whether it's Merrick Books, Jeff doing the cover, all the people at Fanfic Addict, and all the authors who are participating have been super involved and really enthusiastic about participating in everything that we're doing. And to all the people who've supported the project, it's just
Yeah, I was gonna say all the
unbelievably cool.
backers too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
super grateful for
Yeah.
all that support.
So here's the cover that Jeff did the artwork, and then we worked on all the typography and design together.
It's
So
so
yeah.
gorgeous, man. So
Yeah.
so when it came to this cover, I'm curious, because Jeff is
Amazing.
arguably
He's
one
a
of the best
phenom, dude. He's
out
crazy
right
good.
now.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is so good. Like I watched him during a live just create a cover
Yeah.
in like 15 minutes. And I'm like, this guy
yeah.
is so skillful, but such a down to earth kind of guy. I'm curious, how was that process working with him? Did you go through was everything for the cover in your mind, Adrian, or did you go through and connect with the other authors going, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What are y'all thinking? How did that process work with Jeff? And
No,
creating-
I went like super totalitarian when it came to the creative
Yeah.
direction of this project. I was like, I don't want
The thing
input from
is, though-
anybody, because if I need to make this happen, then
Yeah.
I need to just like go all
The
in.
thing is, though, that it is a skill that Adrian has. Like, this is something he is good at. So, like, for us to all be involved, I think it would have been like way too many cooks in the kitchen.
Too many
sort of
cooks in the
thing.
kitchen. Yeah.
Especially as you go down the spectrum of capability to like where I am, where I'm like, I don't know, it's a book. Can we have mushrooms on the cover? Like, and you know, I would have gotten way too specific of like, okay, well, you know what, mine is 1920s themed, so like, you know, deco punk and, you know, stuff like that, and it would have been too much. Like, he made the right choice. He didn't go authoritarian on us. He just recognized his skill set and went with it, and it turned out amazing, because him and Jeff together is like a dream team for something like this.
And I've known Jeff for a couple of years now, and we've hung it a bunch in person. We're both like randomly two Canadians who ended up like moving to Latin America and marrying beautiful Latinas. So he and I share a lot in common.
Canadians too, like
very blonde Canadians. Yeah. And so for me, it was kind of like, it was very much like part of my normal process. I did a live stream with Jeff and Nicholas W. Fuller last week. If you want to have some like really, really in depth, we went into like all the art and design of the book, from like the cover to the interior and everything. But basically, this is like a step by step of how it goes. So it's like, I gave him the sketch on the top left, and that was pretty much like what I'd conceptualized of like, here's the front cover, here's the spine, here's the back cover, combination of like simple sketches and text information just to give him a sense of how it goes. And then the middle one is his first draft. The one on the right is his revised draft, and then basically this is the finished artwork. So it was honestly a super seamless process, and I absolutely loved working with Jeff, which is why I'm kind of at this point where I'm like, yep, any like anthology project or like any kind of non-fungal verse related stuff, because I've already worked with Felix Ortiz on that stuff. I'm just like, I'm going with Jeff, because he's such a dream to work with.
So good.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, Felix is another person that I arguably are my two favorite cover artists right now, because Felix's work is I pretty much buy a book if I see it's Jeff or Felix, and then without reading the book or knowing anything about it, like I'm picking these two up automatically and then hoping I like it. You know,
it's just like fingers crossed. At the very least, your bookshelf will look beautiful.
It'll
There
look
you go.
gorgeous.
It's all for the aesthetic.
It's all for this.
Like, look at this gem. Like, look at this, and then I go through and like, I have no idea what it's about, but it looks great. It looks good. It looks good.
Oh god.
So I'm really curious. So you said 50 people are part of the SFF Addicts, and this is
so Fanfi Addict, and then SFF Addicts is
so
part of Fanfi Addict. Now it's just MJ and Greta and I.
Fanfi Addict specifically is like a blog that does.
I call them our parent company a lot.
Yeah, there you go.
just to like make it easy.
You can think of SFF Addicts like a subsidiary if you want to.
Yeah.
We're an imprint of them.
We're an imprint.
So for getting the team together to write this anthology, did every single person that submit a story end up writing in this book, or was there some people that initially submitted something but then couldn't commit to the timeline? I know you said you're pretty open for the timeline, but I'm curious, did everyone go through and submit
Yeah,
something.
I mean, they're not to say that like all 50 of the people, plus people on the blog are authors. So
Yeah.
out of all of them, I think probably like 20 of us are authors, and a few weren't able to because they were on deadlines for their own projects and whatnot. And so the people who ended up in the anthology are the ones who were able to fully commit and basically do their stories. No one like submitted a story and then said like I had to like pull out or anything.
Or submitted it and we're like, yeah.
Exactly. You fucking cut,
Yeah, and
man.
also since we
Go back to
You're
B
a while
team.
ago.
Yeah. You're the B team. Greta.
Gross.
I love how ruthless Greta's being today. I love it when she's in this mood. Yeah. She's
Okay.
in mom mode. Time out, bitch.
Mercury's in
Get
retrograde. What can I tell you?
Oh, my
Oh,
goodness.
dude.
So during the process of creating these amazing stories, did you go through and share them with each other, like the first draft of the stories, or was it kind of like, no, I'm going to keep mine close to my chest, and then once it's finished, then kind of surprise everyone that's on the team? I'm kind of curious on sharing. Did you guys share?
No, I mean, like, I know I was, I
Shared
think, one of
more
the
than I
last
did, yeah.
authors who came on
Oh, I was
board.
the
So
last. Don't worry, Greta.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you're the
No,
last
no,
one
no, 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 no.
submitted, but I was the
No,
last
no.
one asked, I
Yeah,
think.
there you go. Yeah.
So I was like, oh no, there's a deadline. And because I'm very like type A, and if there's a deadline, I will fucking meet that deadline. I wrote it in like 2 weeks and submit it back to Fraser. So no, I don't think anyone's seen mine yet. Was it more collaborative for you guys, Krystle? or
Yeah, well,
MJ?
I was almost exactly the opposite, but with the same result. In that, I was like in on the original idea, like back when we were joking about it. But then, like, I don't know, this year, I put a lot of energy into my own Kickstarter back in February at the beginning of the year. And since then, I've been like a pile of useless mush. And so I missed a lot of the stuff that was happening like through the year. And then all of a sudden Fraser was like, hey, do you still want to submit to the mushroom thing? I was like, yeah, I want to submit.
Being like the
okay
super
me,
nice
like,
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so gracious. And like I just I was so grateful that he had held that spot for me, that it's like, okay, well, I got to get it done now. And I got to pull myself together out of this slump and just make this happen, because everybody on the team is so amazing. And I just really wanted to be a part of it. And so I had the same experience of I wrote mine in about 2 weeks and then handed it over to Fraser at kind of the last minute. And I would have loved to share more, read everybody's stuff, but I was useless this year. But it feels really
relatable,
meaningful, and awesome that this was my big comeback.
Love it.
Yeah, I had honestly kind of similar to Krystle a little bit, where I was involved in the original conversations, and that, in my experience at least, was, or I guess the first conversation I was involved in was in Twitter DMs, like a Twitter group chat, back when it was still Twitter. Started. And then I abandoned Twitter, like the sinking ship that it is, and I just never logged back in. It's been a long time. And so like I also like, so I'd written a story initially and I hated it. And then I sent it to Fraser, and Fraser is a wizard with dev edits.
Yeah,
like,
he's a really good dev editor.
Some of the most like incisive feedback of anyone I've had beta read or whatever my stuff. And so he gave me a bunch of really great notes, and I was like, oh, this is great. Like this is how, I see I can fix it now. And then I just kind of didn't do anything with it because I forgot about Twitter and everything that was in it. And then same with Krystle, like he reached out to me later and was like, hey, like we're actually doing this. Cause at the time when I'd written the story, and at the time when those early conversations were happening, it felt very much like maybe a someday
very
we'll do
theoretical.
This. It didn't feel very concrete.
Yeah.
But the prompt was fun enough. I wanted to write a story regardless. But then when he reached back out, it was like, oh, this is actually concrete. Kind of same as Krystle. I was like, okay, let me get my shit together.
Yeah.
And, like, actually edit this thing up.
Let me pull myself up out of the trough.
Something I'm proud of. Yeah. And send it back in. But I don't know if anyone else. Well, Adrian's probably read it because you read a lot of them for.
I've read all the stories, but it was kind of like Eleni and Fraser and I are the only ones who read all the stories, except Ed, who basically handled like line editing and proofreading stuff, so more like the technical side of things. But I don't know if there was like too much of, because everyone's kind of got like their own vibe, right? It's not necessarily like, okay, yes, we are friends, but not like I'm gonna, send out my draft to like everybody at FanFi Addict. I feel like all of us kind of have like our own confidants, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And so Fraser and Eleni and I were kind of like,
The
the central kind of like node for all of this, but I'm not really sure if
Daddy Spore.
Daddy Mushroom Daddy, Krystle, Mushroom Daddy.
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Mushroom Daddy's
Um,
better than Daddy Spore.
Daddy Spore, yeah.
I don't like that one.
I don't like that one.
I was
Yeah,
trying to
Daddy
make a
Spore
joke
sounds
about
real
Mother
creepy.
Tree, and it just never it didn't translate. Nobody's nerding enough to follow me to Mother Tree.
Oh my god. Yeah, so Fraser and Eleni and I have read all the stories, but if there was any like sharing and whatnot that was going on before it landed in Fraser's hands for dev edits, I'm not really too sure, because maybe there are like some people in FanFi Addict who are
Yeah, who are,
helping
like,
each other
crit
out,
partners
who
or
have like
whatever,
crit
yeah.
partners
Mhm.
or beta readers or what have you
Mhm.
before they'll hand it off to an editor kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, just like the way in which this project has come together, it's like very much like a family kind of effort and like a passion project, but it's one of those random things, especially because we're all living across the world. Like, it's a fucking miracle that this even happened, right? Like
Yeah.
the fact that like I'm in Ecuador and Fraser's in the UK and Eleni's in Italy, and all the authors are in different parts of like North America or Europe or the UK or Canada or whatever. And the fact that like all of these stories, yeah, whatever.
Some Canada shade. Wow.
I'm
Adrian,
I'm
you're one of
Canadian.
us, man.
I am
you
a
can't throw
self-hating
us in the
Canadian.
He's Canadian. He's loud.
Self-hating Canadian.
Why do you think I haven't lived there in like 15 years?
Yeah, I
No, I'm
guess
kidding.
so.
It's just kind of like a miracle that all of these puzzle pieces were able to fit together the way that they did.
It also
and
feels really fitting that something so holistic could have been so healing for at least a few of us. I
Yeah.
can't speak for everybody else, but certainly on this panel, we're kind of like a hot mess express, and like it was like a something to hang on to through kind of a hard time, which was so, and it's so fitting that it's this group of people is what that came from.
Agreed.
Awesome. Curious. And then I kind of want to lean in next to your each individual stories with this. But was there, because all of you work together in different capacities, you've done other interviews, you do amazing podcasts together. Did any stories magically have parallels or contrast to each other where you went through and read like, oh, wow, this is similar. It's like they wrote close to the same type of story.
Yeah, literally the first and the last story are kind of like, like a good bookend,
Wait, whose
where
are
it's
they,
like,
Adrian? You have to
I'm
tell
not,
me.
I'm not, no, I'm not going to say anything. I'll tell you off screen. Yeah.
We gotta buy our coffee.
Yeah,
If
but-
I'm one of them, you have
but-
to tell me
Back
who my
to
counterpart is,
Kickstarter.
because they're destined to be my best friend. Okay.
Or your nemesis.
Yeah, yeah. I told you, Mercury. Greta's in a mood, fucking mood, man. But literally the first and the last story are the one we chose those ones because like there's like a thematic through line from one to the next. But even across all of the stories, it's kind of crazy the ways in which there are, even though like the genres are so different and like the specific themes of each are different. Like, there's, like Appalachian folk horror. There's like a 90s theme, like post-apocalyptic. There's, Greta's, which is more like Gaslamp. MJ with dueling gods, and Greta going like full fucking witch with like folklore fantasy type stuff. There's so much variety in there, but there are a lot of thematic through lines, and it was actually kind of like bewildering for Fraser and Eleni and I to be like, oh wow, like this doesn't feel disjointed. Like there is a really nice cohesion to all of these stories, and the ways in which the Book of Spores kind of weaves itself through all of them. And we have it basically built around a frame story. So there's a prologue, there's an interlude, and an epilogue from the perspective of an archivist who is researching and trying to investigate like the truth or like the location of this Book of Spores kind of thing. And so her frame story kind of encapsulates everything and gives a really nice kind of addition to that through line of the Book of Spores and the ways in which it kind of feeds into the different stories. But no, overall, we were super surprised by how cohesive everything felt, despite the fact that it was like our prompt was
Several different
so
genres.
So
sparse,
chaotic.
right? And everyone's stories are just so different and so reflective of them. But maybe it's a result of like, yeah, like we all have spoken so much over the years that there's kind of a bit of that.
Hive mind. No.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Or even the
I was gonna say like that creative diffusion that kind of
Okay,
like
there we go. That sounds
permeates.
better.
It sounds less creepy than hive
It
mind.
sounds less like
But yeah, let's
Not
call
inappropriate.
One of
Let's
us.
not- we got Score Daddy, we got Hive Mind. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. Let's keep it yeah, I mean, we're already like we've already dug ourselves a hole. Like, let's just
Oh,
jump
yeah.
right on in.
Just live here. Fine.
But I feel like it's one of those cases where it's like you start to develop this dynamic with people that you're close with, and you feed off of each other's like in jokes and references and whatnot. And so I think there's probably a good amount of that going on that helped kind of lean into how everyone approached the stories and what they know about, you know, us as a group, but each individual author was able to kind of like bring their own voice and their own style to it.
Perfect transition, Adrian. Thank you, sir.
I got you, man.
Oh
It's
my
as if
God,
I do this for a profession, you know?
I know. It's like you got my email of like, hey, I need transitions at this point and this point. Perfect.
Yeah.
So
Segues, baby. I got you.
love it. Thanks, buddy. So I want to start with the stories. I would love to get to know your interpretation of these prompts. MJ, do you mind telling us a little bit about your specific God story that you ended up going through and putting together for this anthology?
Yeah, so I had no idea where to start, by the way, when I saw the prompt. I was like, okay, this sounds super fun, but like I don't know anything about mushrooms other than they are delicious on pizza. Like
Other than the amount of like mushroom stuff that I
this
You-
was
your
before
way.
I'd read Mushroom Blues. I didn't
That's true,
even
actually.
know the
Wow,
depths
yeah,
to
that's
true.
which
yeah.
mycelium could go. So I was like, okay, I don't know where to start. And then I had this idea. This is kind of a deep cut origin story that I don't know that I've actually ever shared with anyone on this call before.
Exclusive.
Right, exclusive. But my first story that I ever took out on submission, and it didn't get picked up. This was like over a decade ago. With my first agent it was a YA dystopian, hilarious for me if you know me now. But it featured these like dueling gods with like these very different like personalities, but that were kind of two sides of the same coin. And so I just decided to kind of resurrect that idea, but instead of in a YA dystopian with a classic love triangle, to have it be in this very like dark mushroom drenched story, where we have two gods of death. We have basically the god of the people who die heroically and the god of the people who are bad, and they are fighting over who can get the most souls in a certain amount of time. So our story goes back and forth between them. And then we have this really, really insufferable prince who exists in the living world at the same time. And I will not give any more spoilers than that. But yeah,
Yeah, it was a short story. You can't go too far.
You know, exactly. I can't go super in depth with how it goes, but things unravel, and there is a book with mushrooms in it. And yeah, it was super fun to write. And so that's kind of how that came. It was resurrecting a very old trunked story idea for the purposes of this cool anthology.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. I put Soul Battle, which that sounds awesome. So that's kind of what I have like my one word with this for your story. So super excited to go through. What was the name of your story?
Of my story, it's the Book of Hries, Hries. So
how do you know I appreciate that.
Because it's a word I made up.
Yeah, it's a made up fantasy word for sure.
And if anyone wants, you can also go to my Instagram and check out like different, or the Fanfightic YouTube channel, and check out different. Each of the authors is basically like pitching their stories as a little bit of promo. So not just like Krystle, Greta, and MJ, but you can hear from all the rest of the authors
the whole crew.
as the week goes along. Yeah,
the dream team.
The dream team. Yeah.
There we go. MJ, I got one more question because I'm really curious. I don't want you to spoil anything, but for us readers, when we finish your story, what's the reaction you hope that we have? Do you hope we have dread? Do you hope we have curiosity? Is it like a gut punch, laughter? What kind of emotion are you hoping to get out of us?
It's quite cynical, isn't it? My story for this one. It's a little cynical.
But you also wrote it at a time where maybe you were feeling a little bit more cynical.
Is that different from normal?
Related.
So yeah, maybe you'll feel pensive, perhaps, after reading. But it's fun along the way. Like, of course, it's still my writing style. I what is it? One of my friends says that I write really dark shit in just the most irreverent tone.
That's
That's
a
fair.
Really good
That counts. Yeah.
for your catalog. Yeah.
Love it. Greta, I'm really curious on where you decided to go with your story. Did you lean into the political? Did you lean into the eerie, or did you lean into something completely different with your story?
Yeah, definitely more eerie. When I, got the invite to submit a story, I was kind of knee deep in research mode for a medieval, truly medieval based fantasy. So I was doing all kinds of research into medieval France. And I got it, and I was like, I think I had just watched Agatha all along. And I had listened to this podcast about Julia Tofana and Aqua Tofana, which was this poisoner ring that happened in early Renaissance Rome. And all of these ideas were just kind of swirling in my head. And then the Toadstool Witch was kind of just born from that, this idea of this dark fairy tale of this woman who goes into this forest, the primordial forest outside of her village, to try to find a lost lamb, and instead finds a book that is willing to help her get rid of a pesky husband, and things devolve quickly. But I had a lot of fun with the fairy tale format. If readers might notice as they read through that none of the male characters have names. That was intentional. It was very feminine rage, and then also cannibalism, because I was in Wisconsin.
Have a little, as a treat.
It's just a little nosh. It's fine.
Everyone wants to know how the Wisconsin sausage is made.
But I just had a really good time of leaning into the more spooky body horror aspect of fantasy, which is not something I've written in a book format yet. But I don't know. This book of Spores might have converted me. I might be a secret horror story novelist. Who knows?
Come to the dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
I'm
I
not
do
surprised that you can nail
want to
the
come
vibe.
to you next, Krystle, but I saw something, and this is hilarious. No one has said this yet.
I
It
saw
was
that too.
4 Spores and 7 years ago. No one said it yet. It had to be
How fucking pedestrian we all are that we didn't bring this one up. No,
We missed a major
did not.
opportunity.
no, but we have to say it in the voice though. 4 Spores and 7 years
7
ago.
years ago.
Oh my goodness, man. He cracks me up every time he gets in the chat. Man,
Hi, Grifkin. Yeah.
Krystle, I'm really curious. Do you mind telling us a little bit about your amazing witch story that you went through and put together?
No, hers is the
So-
Gaslamp Fantasy. Greta's the witch.
No, not
Gaslight. Oh, sorry.
the-
I got mixed
not
up.
Gaslamp.
Yeah, so sorry.
Mine is 1920s Prohibition style. And I was in the really unique situation where when everybody was talking about doing this mushroom thing, I had already planned a magic system that was based on mushrooms, because I wanted to write something in the Prohibition era. It's such a fascinating time, and the intersection of substances and counterculture and the government overreach is my jam. And so I wanted to go there but make it fantasy, so it had to have magic. So what they're smuggling instead of just regular alcohol is infused with literal magic mushrooms, and it gives them the the ability to do magic. but this is an anthology, and I couldn't submit 50,000 word novel for it, so I had to like pump the brakes on it a little bit, and rewind. And so it's like the story is like a little slice of backstory from the main character of what will later be the full novel. And so he's 14 years old and he's off robbing a bank, making his bones as a criminal. And it was so fun to explore like that weird intersection between, you know, he's still a child, he's still very young and innocent, but he's also exposed to this life where this is a necessity for him, and also mushrooms, because like, why not, right? So that was really fun to use as a way to resurrect myself into writing, is going to hang out with him, because I'm really excited to get more out of that world.
Awesome. That sounds so cool.
Yeah, everything like we have like a writing group, the four of us and our friend Michael Vadney, who's hanging out in the chat.
Hey,
Hi,
Mike.
Hey, Mike. Krystle like gives us like hints and stuff of this. MJ, hey man. She gives us hints of like this world and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, it's so up my alley. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
like,
oh yeah,
it's like yeah, just like Dennis Lehane on mushrooms. I'm
yes,
fully
oh,
on
God.
board, man. Yeah,
That's like the highest compliment for me. But my
that's gonna be
for
my
this
blurb.
world-
That's gonna be my blurb for you,
It
Krystle.
better
Dennis
be.
Lehane on mushrooms.
I'm holding you to that. You've already said it. I'm putting it on my.
Hey, it's on record now.
It's on record.
Done.
Run with
Done.
it.
Let's go with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But my latest breakthrough for like that magic system is like using the magic mushrooms as tattoo ink. So there's like folk witches who have magic
Hell
tattoos
yeah.
and stuff, and that's not in the short story. Like
Mhm.
that would have been way too much to fit in, but like that's where it's going. Like it's just like this really old world deep religion, but also prohibition, teetering on the depression.
Krystle just asking
so-
me like, what can you put in tattoo ink?
Yeah, well, the original question was, is it always blue? Like, because black tattoos fade blue.
No,
especially-
technically it's never blue. It's just the way that like
I know,
reflects
but
off
it
the
looks.
skin. But
Yeah.
it
And
looks blue.
I was just wondering if there is any ink that you could use that was black that would fade to a different color, and like just figuring out the mechanics of that. And then I looked at mushroom dye, and it turns out mushroom dye is like a brownish red. I was like, done.
Real earthy, man. Real
So-
earthy.
Mushroom tattoos. Yeah.
Thank you, research.
Yeah. So the moral of that story is like, no friends who have the weirdest jobs possible, because
Yeah.
you can ask them the most bananas world building questions.
Or ask Adrian, because he has like 15 jobs. or
Yeah,
whatever
if
the
you,
fuck.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
is a very different and unique magic system. I'm super hyped to go
Yeah.
through
Oh,
and see what
thank
kind
you.
of chaos is going to come out within your story with this. So that sounds too cool.
Oh yeah.
Too
Yeah.
cool.
Lots of chaos. Frankie is very chaotic.
So chaotic, yeah. And Josh, I can tell you about my story as well, since we
Yeah.
hit a 35K stretch goal. So one
Woo.
of the parts of that stretch goal was like a bonus short story for me. And this was actually like, I mean, speaking of therapy, this was kind of like a therapeutic one for me, because I wrote it over the summer. And after like months and months of just being like, I can't write anything in life,
Yeah, I'll
sucks,"
never write
whatever the fuck
again.
else.
Yeah.
So mine is tied into the Fungal verse, which is the world in which Mushroom Blues takes place. But this short story called "The Stem Cutter's Daughter" is basically like a folk tale, like an in-world folk tale that takes place like thousands of years before Mushroom Blues, and it's about the titular stem cutter's daughter. She is basically like a young girl whose father is one of the villagers in this like rural village, and he's the one who harvests tinder fungus from trees that all of the village uses to light their fires. And so he's kind of like, his job is a stem cutter, and so he's basically like a mushroom harvester. But the village is struck by a plague, and the daughter is basically thrust out into the mushroom and monster filled wilderness to find a cure for this plague and save her village. And so it's like this kind of folktale is like something that like a fungal person, like a fungal mother would like tell her daughter before bedtime or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's been really, really fun to work on that and just kind of like expand the universe in a way that was very much not like noir or anything along those lines. It's like, how can I explore
It's like history of your
this
own
world through like a
yeah.
more like fantastical, almost like this is probably like the most Studio Ghibli-esque thing that I've ever written. Because it's like very much inspired by Princess Mononoke and stuff like that in terms of like the vibes and like the weird messed up creatures and shit like that. If you've ever seen Princess Mononoke and you remember that like
the
that
boar.
like that boar that is basically possessed and you know, like that demonic boar creature, that was where my inspiration started for this story. So
that was the seed.
Yeah.
But that's like the joy of doing a short story anthology like this, is that you get to dip your toe into literary genres and styles that you haven't tried yet. So I don't know. It's just cool. It's cool. I'm excited to read your story, Adrian.
and it shows you, it's like, wow, like even Tori Gross, she wrote the like Appalachian folk horror story, and she was like, shit, I didn't know I could write horror. And so it's like through the act of doing this anthology, many of the authors who are contributing stories have figured out like, I'm experimenting with someone new, and holy crap, like I can do something that I didn't think I could do before. And so now it's for them, it's kind of like opening a door to, okay, like maybe I can experiment more with horror. And like MJ and I have been talking a lot about, like, she's been reading a lot more horror, but then she's also been writing a lot more horror. And we've even been talking with our friend Evan Lycum about this, where it's like, sometimes you just need to kind of like step outside of your comfort zone a little bit and figure out like, what else am I capable of? And in turn, that experiment, not only can you figure out like, maybe I'm actually really enjoying writing like horror or more fantasy and that kind of thing, but that always comes back to inform the stuff that, you know, maybe it's like, you know, the main series or like the main thing that you're working on, right?
Yeah. Any words you get on the page are making you better, stronger, more skilled. Even if you're like, write something, like I made it my mission this year, I wanted to write at least 10 short stories, right? Because I haven't written a ton of short stories outside of this one. I mean, now I have a few in anthologies as well, in addition to this one. But like, I was like, okay, some of them suck. Like some of not this one, but some of them suck. And I didn't even end up subbing them anywhere, right? Where it was just like, oh, whatever. But like, I got to flex a new muscle. I got to try something a little different. I got to write something that would not be something like, I wrote a cozy fantasy. Like me? Excuse me. I mean, it was about death, but still.
Because you're still MJ to Raccoon.
Yeah. It is a cozy fantasy, but it's also a meditation on death. Just, you know, low stakes.
Really like that one.
Low stakes, girl.
You know, it's a fun medium. So like, you know, writers out there, if you're watching and you haven't like really dived into short stories, like it's super fun. Like you can just kind of like,
but also
dabble and
like,
play.
Yeah, like cozy fantasy, it's really low stakes. It's like you're writing like 7,000 words, 15,000 if you're Krystle Matar, and it's like, so there's so little burden on that kind of experiment where you're like, okay, I'm looking ahead. I'm looking ahead, and it's like, oh shit, I gotta write like a novel that's like 120K or something like that. And that's like a much more burdensome, intimidating project. But if you're writing a short story, you're like, cool, I can, you know, just like completely vomit out like a really rough first draft in like a weekend, like MJ says, and then I can clean it up the week after. And then it's like, cool.
Well, and
how did that go? What can I take away from that, right?
Your short story for this one, Krystle, is an examination of a character, kind of a prequel story. That is something, and I can't remember if anyone on the SFFA team remembers who it was that we were talking to. One of our authors we interviewed like a year and a half ago said that they always start by writing a short story, and then if they vibe with it, they continue on for the novel.
I remember the conversation, but I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
I
can't remember who it was.
Alex Harrow did it recently, not last year, but she had a short story version of The Everlasting.
Okay.
Yes,
then I'm sure like a lot of folks do it, because I mean, that's something I've been exploring recently. I was so stuck on my like latest novel length project, and I decided to just like write a short story from a POV of a character that I didn't have a POV from. And then I was like, holy cow, now I understand all of these
Yep.
things, right, that I needed to know to write the story. So yeah, it's been
Yeah.
this project I think has been a little bit my gateway drug to short stories.
Yeah.
And kind of like coming full circle back now that like I wrote the first draft of the Book of Freeze.
Yeah.
And then, of course, edited the crap out of it once I actually got better at short stories. But, you know, it's like a full circle moment here,
Yeah.
which is kind of beautiful.
And,
Yeah.
and Grifkin brought up a good point. The good thing about short stories is that you can have
Yeah.
ambiguous endings. And if you don't know how to wrap up your story, that's totally fine. It's not necessarily like,
You
I
can
feel
get
like
away with a
longer,
lot.
yeah, like novels, it's like the ending has to kind of like tie things up in a relatively neat
all the
bow.
questions need to be
Yeah,
answered.
whereas short
Something
stories, it's kind of like
satisfying, yeah.
you can pose questions and not answer them, and that's totally fine.
Well,
and
it's
I
like,
love that about them.
Well, and
I think-
you
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the best like metaphor for like short story that like actually kind of unlocked me and being able to write one period was when we were talking to Ken Liu on the
Mhm.
show. And he said, a short story is a photograph, a novel is cinema. It's the
Mhm.
same art form,
Yeah.
but it's a different application. And
Yep.
it's a radically different like approach to the storytelling. And as soon as I like, because I was trying to like jam like a full story arc into
Mhm.
2,000 words and like,
It just doesn't
Ah!
work. Yeah.
You know,
Witchcraft.
and that metaphor really unlocked me. But I'm sorry, Krystle, what were you saying?
Yeah, well, it was very related, I think, because like the photograph is such a good metaphor for what I'm about to say, in that short stories can get away with not explaining so much. You know, like you can just skim past like the most bananas details and just like, yep, that's there. We're moving on. And you don't have to justify it the same way, because it is a photograph. It's a snapshot, and that
Yep.
thing is sitting there in the corner, and it's weird as fuck, and it's making you look at the photograph longer and wonder.
But that's
what
a
else
different
is
short
there.
story.
Yeah,
But that's something else.
Yeah.
We're not discussing that today, friends.
But literally,
moving
that is the
on.
only frame of reference you have to work with. And it's like, if I
Yeah.
don't need to zoom in on like, you know, like a fucking cat in the corner or something like that, I don't need to say
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
else
yeah.
about the cat. It's just there.
Yeah, you
know?
don't have to
Although we should
explain
always
who
zoom in
got
on
the
the
cat.
cats.
We should.
We should.
You're feeding into their attention-seeking nature, MJ.
Yeah, I have toxoplasmosis. It's fine.
Yeah, we were talking to Scott Lynch about this recently. It's just like, yep, they're all brainwashed. They're all brainwashed. All you cat
Happily so.
owners, happily so. Yeah, but it's like I love that though. It's so much fun that, you know, yeah. Anyone who's read Mushroom Blues, it's not like there's like fucking giant fungal spiders or anything like roaming around Neo Kanoko, but it's like,
Why
yeah,
not?
but
Yet.
you know, I can just be like, yeah, that's a thing that's in here, and I don't have to go into detail about like, why are there giant monster like spiders or something like that. It's like, no,
Yeah.
that's just a thing that's here. You don't need to
And
know any
we're
more
moving on,
context.
honey.
We're moving on, honey. We're gonna keep on moving through this forest.
So, oh my goodness, Michael's killing me. Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's nice. It's
Is
nice.
that a very polite way of saying we're not letting you get a word in?
This is the chaotic
Shut up,
truth
guys.
tab on all of it.
Fantastic. I love
Shut up, everyone.
Which led to a question, because MJ went through and talked about the biggest creative lessons that she went through and learned from this anthology. And so I'm really curious from the rest of you, was there anything that stood out as, hey, this is the biggest takeaway that you've learned or that you appreciate from this anthology?
I mean, I can answer it from like a not necessarily like a writing creative level, but more of like the business side of things.
Yeah.
Because I've basically been treating this anthology as an experiment in how to run a Kickstarter. So that, you know, I can apply all of these skills to future Kickstarters, because it's not necessarily like one and done kind of thing. Not necessarily that we're going to turn Fanfi Addict into an indie publisher, but we want to keep doing cool projects like this. And this is basically the first step in us understanding, okay, like what is involved in the process, who are good people to collaborate with, what are the right ways to sort of like approach marketing and promotion and things along those lines. All of that has kind of been like, all right, let's like buckle up and have a ridiculous crash course in how to run a Kickstarter. And I'm really happy with how things are going, because then it's basically like, cool. A lot of these lessons that I learned from Mushroom Blues, kind of reapplying them to the Book of Spores and being like, okay, this particular thing works better than this particular thing. And I've already tossed aside a bunch of lessons that I learned from Mushroom Blues that I don't think necessarily are not necessarily like vital to the overall marketing and promotion and you know, getting your book out there as a product type thing. And so doing this Kickstarter was like, you know, a purposeful kick in the ass to be like, how do we do this? How do we do it well?
What's next?
And how can we apply that to everything going forward?
Awesome. What about you, Greta?
You know, it's one of those weird things. Like I have always written like full length novels. I've never been someone who really experimented much with short form fiction. I think this might be like the first actual short story I've written since high school. And for a long time, I just convinced myself like short fiction is a different kind of magic. I'm over here. I'll be over here in my little swimming pool.
You can,
you know. Yeah, well, I didn't realize that until I actually had a reason to sit down and try something new.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about it before with trying different things with genre and style, but you know, length too is just it's fun to try new things and spread your wings in different ways. And so now I'm less scared of short fiction than I used to be. So that's
fly,
handy.
Greta, fly. You're free.
So when you were going through and writing this story, since haven't wrote a short story in so long, did it feel like, hey, I'm working out a completely different muscle when you were going through and writing this? Because you had to make this like, hey, I got to get to the point very quickly within this story, rather than let me tell a little bit about what the trees look like or what this looks like over here. It's like I got to get to
absolutely ruthless editing. But all editing really is. That's the fun part of it.
Yeah.
But also like figuring out really what makes a fairy tale work, because so much about fairy tales are nonsense and inference and you know, referencing things that we no longer have context for, but that's okay. We're here for the vibes and we understand enough. And so kind of trying to work that muscle and like grabbing the very old copy of Grimm's fairy tales that my sister used to read before bed and like looking through and like, okay, there's like you get one named character and that's it. And everyone else is archetype, and that's fine because they're doing their job. So it's a different type of storytelling. But when I had a lot of fun learning.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of perfect that we interviewed T. Kingfisher earlier this year, because we did like a masterclass with her on fairy tale reimaginings. And so it was like, all right, perfect prep for Greta.
It really was.
And honestly, like she's so much fun. And like certain things where it's like, yeah, like if you read original fairy tales, it's like, this is incomprehensible some of the time. And it's like, who the fuck is that character?
Who's making these choices?
Yeah, exactly. And so it's kind of cool to be like, okay, here's like the fairy tale tradition, and here are the things that we can kind of reinterpret for a modern audience, and also for you as like a modern creator. And like, here are the things that we can kind of ditch and put aside and be like, oh yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense at all. I'm just gonna forget about that. And then like, you know, but like at the base of it, like the frameworks are really solid, and kind of, you know, getting into conversations about archetypes and the fundamentals of storytelling, that like these are the reasons why certain stories persist over time. And I think fairy tales really tap into kind of like the fundamentals of storytelling, and especially oral storytelling, and the ways in which a story can persist and kind of play this temporal game of telephone, but still the root of it, the core of it, persists regardless of where in the world it's being told or how it's been reinterpreted by a specific culture or like geography or whatever.
Which is kind of what made the Book of Spores like the perfect like architecture for at least my short story in particular, because it's all about like, well, this is a thing that happened, but only the Book of Spores will remember, because the Book of Spores will last no matter what.
It will outlive us all.
It will outlive us all.
For sure.
What about you, Krystle?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and I think for me the lessons were more relearning rather than anything new.
Mhm.
Because I have done some anthologies and I have done some short stories, and I have even successfully stuck to a word count once or twice. Not this time, but I think for me this year it was just kind of relearning the love of the craft, because like I said, like I this year I was so burnt out. Like I was already tired before my Kickstarter, and then that thing just kind of took the last of the fight out of me for quite a while. And I think I had built a bit of resentment for writing, specifically like the big series that I've locked myself into. And so coming back and doing some short stories was like just an act of reminding myself that I love this, and that storytelling is so important to me, just like on a molecular level. Like it's in me, and hating it won't cure that.
Yeah.
Like and so for that, like I'm really grateful for Frankie for taking that burden on him in this tiny story. And I think just learning that things can just be, and they don't have to be like, I don't have to overwork stuff so much. I don't have to obsess so much about every single line, and I can just let a story fall out instead of imagining the reviews that will come, and that'll
That
tell
way
me all
lies
the things that I've
madness.
done.
Oh yeah.
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 And I think thinking about all that later stuff really gummed me up on a creative level. And so experimenting with Frankie in this new world and this new concept was just relearning the act of loving the craft.
And I think that's something you kind of have to do a lot, honestly. It's like,
every book.
yeah, every book is a different beast, and not just every book, every story is a different beast.
Every story,
and
yeah.
you have to kind of, I don't know. It's like like publishing a book is like this weird, it's like in Men in Black where they have the thing that like wipes your memory. It's like writing a book is one thing, and then publishing a book just like completely fucking wipes your mind of like all the all
the lessons that you learned.
All the lessons that you learned.
Except
it's like
it's not that,
all this,
it's not so
like
much that it wipes your memory. It's that you get an ego, and you're like, oh, I can do this. I know what I'm doing. And then you hit that second book, and you go, oh fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. And you fall apart. And
so maybe you're like a toddler.
Process.
You're like a baby who's like taking their first steps
over and over again. Ow, that hurts. I don't know.
I like how I went for first steps, and you're like burning your hand on this.
Burning your hand. Fire.
Yeah.
Also, like, shout out to Grifkin. He's like dropping so many.
He's hilarious.
The pun game
he
in
said
the chat.
the next anthology needs to be named Spory Time. Never mind, that's horrible. But
where was the morale
actually,
one, though? That was really funny.
What was the moral of the story that I learned from Mushroom Blues?
The morale of the story. Yeah.
But we were talking. I think it was like last week during a live stream. Joe Byrne said the next one should be called the Book of S'mores. And so so we're gonna ship it.
Story
we're gonna ship it with
it'll be our Christmas anthology.
Greta, every book comes with a box of graham crackers and marshmallows and chocolate. As long as it's packaged.
Me with a good time, Adrian.
yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Greta's like, give me the ingredients for
give
s'mores.
Me the chocolate now.
I'll show you a good time.
Give me the chocolate. Nobody gets hurt.
The villagers will live.
Oh my god. I'm just imagining her just like in like the Smurf village. Give me all your fucking chocolate. Oh my god.
So let's stick down this path. I'm really curious. Is this something you guys are really considering about doing in the not like s'more? I'm talking like in general, like going through and doing this a type of anthology again, maybe with the same authors, or maybe, hey, let's pull in some new ones. Is this something you're interested in doing in the future again?
I was looking at you, boss.
Eyeball emojis. That's all.
Just eyeball emojis.
MJ, the one with the
MJ and Greta and I have something in the works, but we cannot say anything. it's just like, yeah, like, you know, really kinky zippers on the lips, kind of. Not saying
Why
anything.
do we go that way with it?
So the story
Just went full gimp.
That's what we're saying. The story, it's a kinky story. You guys are going romantic.
Yeah, we're doing
Yes,
we're doing
we're
a
going-
kink
I'm
anthology.
there.
You know, we got
That
like
one.
we got Chuck
Damn, I
Tingle, we
would
got
get done.
That's the
Yeah.
next one.
yeah, that's the next one. Yeah, but no, we've got something in the works, but hush hush for now. But this anthology kind of spurred us to be like, oh, this is actually something that we can do. Like the response that we got to the Book of Spores kind of made MJ and Greta and I be like,
Like, oh
right,
snap.
like fuck, let's like there's if this is the response that we got to this, then there's
Right.
so much
What's
more
next?
potential for what we can do. So that got the gears turning very, very fast. And yeah, we've got something really cool in the works. It's not a kinky anthology. It's not a romantic anthology.
I feel like it's
Zippers
It's the
on
Book of
Lips.
Swords.
Adrian.
Yeah, that'll be the name of it. That'll be the name of the anthology. Zippers on the Lips.
Zippers on the lips.
Zippers on the lips, baby.
oh man.
That would actually be kind of a fun like short story prompt because then some people would take it kinky, but then other people
Yeah.
would be like,
Full on
Body horror?
horror.
Yeah.
Hard.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Greta's like, we're gonna do them all in one
Yeah.
story.
All of
all
it.
in one story.
All of it.
All
Yeah.
of the above.
Poor Kano's dose.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
Uh,
So, man, you guys have a bunch of killers on this anthology. I was going through the list before this conversation. There's so many different voices, so many different styles and worlds that are all coming together to go through and write this. And I feel like the Book of Spores is a clear example of the range of storytelling happening right now in the fantasy genre, which gets me super excited to see what's coming up next for these amazing authors. So, and all of you included, I'm super hyped to read this and to really see everyone get out of their genre that they're comfortable with and really stepping out going, hey, I'm going to go through and try this. I'm a big fan of going through and seeing authors go through and take those different types of steps. So super excited to get this book.
Yeah.
So,
And honestly, it's been really cool because like there are even some authors who are debuting in this anthology, which is really meaningful to them.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we've got people who are a little bit more established in the SFF community. But I'll just list everyone out just so we can give them a shout out and share a little bit of love. So we got MJ, Greta, and Krystle. Then we've also got CM Kaplan, Connor. We've got Caden Love, ML Adams, AJ Calvin, Ryan Kirk, Adam Bassett, DB Rook, Tom Bookbeard, Harry Chilcott, Victoria Gross, Will Swordstrom, CJ Daly. And then Eleni is doing the frame story. Fraser has also written one of the stories. And then I've got my bonus short story that's now part of the mix. And then, we got Jeff doing the cover, Fraser, Eleni, and I, and Ed Crocker doing the editing. So it's been like a really fun project and a really cool way for us to showcase authors who are kind of a little bit more established, but then also give an opportunity for people to, like literally debut as an author, which is really, really cool.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about reading anthologies too, I feel like, because Josh, to your point, yes, like as writers, we get to like explore like different avenues of fantasy that maybe we haven't written before, but like as a reader,
Readers get to do the same.
I love reading an
Yeah.
anthology because like maybe I know I love this kind of fantasy. Maybe I know I love these 3 authors that are in it. And I've never heard of these other
Or
10
sometimes
or
even
whatever.
one,
And maybe
yeah.
I'm going to find a new favorite. Maybe I'm going to find a new auto by author, right? Maybe I'm going to find a new subgenre that's got a bunch of weird shit that I can look into that now I love. Like that's the fun thing about anthologies just in general. So I'm really excited for everyone to get to experience that with the Book of Spores.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. That's how, so I just started reading. I just learned how to read 5 years ago. So anthologies is something that really getting names out there for me. Cause I went through and bought a few years ago. I think the Advent of Winter was the
Oh, that's a
first
good
one I
one.
went
Yeah,
through and
yeah,
got.
yeah.
And I think I knew one author on there. And then I was like, oh my goodness, there's so many fantastic authors on here. And then I was like, I need more from them. I just need, so it helps definitely newer readers really expand our
Yeah.
or horizon, because if not, you're going to be stuck in the same lane of reading the same five
Right.
authors over and over again. And definitely hearing new voices out there.
And it doesn't require the same amount of investment either. It's like, sure, like
Mhm.
like on the whole, an anthology is long, but each individual story gives you like a little snippet, and it's like, you know, I'm kind of one of those readers where it's like, you know, if your chapter's like 30 pages, I'm like, where the fuck do I stop? You know, I'm kind of like, I need like a good in and a good out. And a short story is perfect because it's like, cool, you got like a definitive in and out. And if you really like that story, amazing. That author kind of, you can see what else they've written and all that kind of stuff. And then the next story is another in and out, and that process repeats. And you might find, you know, like, who knows, in any given anthology, you might find, you know, 3, 4, 5, hopefully more authors where you're like, that was an amazing story and I want to see what else this person has done. Right.
You know what an anthology is? It's the version of going out to dinner with your friends, but nobody wants to order entrees. Everyone just wants to order a bunch of apps for the table.
Yeah, it's like the
I
tapas. It's like the
love that
tapas of
so
yeah,
hard.
yeah.
That's
Dude.
what an anthology
Yeah,
is.
there we go. Oh,
I
dude, we
still
need to do
remember,
a
the
tapas
first
themed anthology.
I ever bought. Oh, nice.
All right, that's number
Well,
3. That's number 3. I'm expecting
Yeah.
3
So we've
now.
got
Yeah.
s'mores. I feel like
We have a
tapas
lot
is
of
gonna
food,
be.
mushroom, s'mores, and tapas. We might need to move away from food.
I feel like
I'm just
tapas.
hungry.
I
Part
feel
of
like
the
tapas
tapas
is gonna be
thing.
really hard to fulfill through
Tapas,
Kickstarter.
no,
but we'll
tapas
figure
is
it out.
the overarching theme. And
There we
then-
go. Oh, it's
and
like
then
the
we
tapas.
get like, we did
collection.
mushrooms. Next one will be like bread or something, and then
Yeah.
olives, or you know, and we just go through, and it's like the tapas anthology series. There we go.
There we go.
I like
yeah.
it.
Mhm.
I'm hungry
got
now.
So
We're all
after
hungry.
this, food.
Yeah.
Let's all meet up for tapas. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, Josh, I wanted to say, like, Kickstarter, I'm really appreciative of, because I don't know if anyone's been paying attention. It's like, just in like the last 2 months, there have been so many amazing anthologies launching on
Mhm.
Kickstarter. Like, shout out to my friend Tim Hickson. He's got his Labyrinth anthology.
Oh, yeah.
Zach ZS
Ethos
Diamante with
ones.
with Honor,
Mhm.
James L. Doolin and BSH Garcia, and like a bunch of other authors who did Ethos. And this is just like in the last couple months, and I think over the last few years, you know, with like Sean Speakman and Grim Oak Press kind of helping to set a bit of a precedent for what anthologies can be on Kickstarter, that Grifkin's wallet has noticed all the Kickstarter. Sorry, dude.
Love
Not
you.
sorry at all. But it's just kind of like, it's a really, especially in indie, but I think now there's more and more like intermingling of traditionally published authors and indie authors within these anthologies. And so like the crossover has been amazing, and just the fact that these anthologies can be, you know, can come to life through basically community investment, right? Like, I was trying to explain to a friend here in Quito about like, what is Kickstarter, and I had to basically say it's like open source, venture capitalists kind of like coming in, but each person that invests in it is a reader who wants to see this project fulfilled, and it's just an accumulation of really passionate people who are kind of acting as like low-key venture capitalists for this project. And so it's really cool that Kickstarter is an opportunity for authors to do things in the indie space, and like not necessarily having to go through traditional publishing houses or any kind of gatekeeping. It's like, if you're doing something awesome, and if you're doing it well, and it doesn't look like you just like scrabbled some shit together, then you can put out a really amazing product, right?
I'm going to steal that. Just letting you know, I'm stealing that. I'm going to start calling myself a venture capitalist to my
There
wife.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Count it.
spending all of our money, because she's like, why did you order another book? I'm like, because it's pretty and I want it. So
I'm
you
investing
keep
in
telling me
the
no more
authors.
Kickstarters, and I'm like, okay, no more Kickstarters.
Slow
But,
roll.
But
luckily,
now you can be like, I'm a venture
I'm a
capitalist.
venture capitalist.
Yeah.
I
Supporting
am-
small
yeah.
businesses.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm going to see if that works. If it does, I will buy 2 of your book.
Oh.
I'm like, Yes,
Yeah.
that is true. 100%. I take nothing but notes down and I go, fantastic idea.
I mean, honestly, Grifkin, that's why we started SFF Addicts.
But we
we
do too.
we
Yeah.
interview people to not like we want to learn from them and basically steal their, not necessarily steal their creative
No,
ideas, but steal their
knowledge.
processes,
Steal their
and steal their
knowledge,
knowledge.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about theft in BookTube.
Don't take that clip out of context.
No, please don't. Please don't. Let's go back to the wholesome idea of Josh as a VC.
There
That
we
was
go.
nice.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So I'm curious, and this might just be a specific question for you, Adrian, because you went through and read all the stories. What part of the process were you like, okay, well, this is something special here with this anthology, rather than just being just a random fun idea you guys were talking about?
I don't think it really hit me until I got the cover. Because then it's honestly a very similar thing to like self-publishing a book. There are certain
Yeah.
points where it's like the story is one thing, but it doesn't start to feel as tangible until there are things that you know are kind of like, oh well shit, like this is like literally the packaging of this book, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like reading all the stories and going through that whole process didn't really, like, I knew it was going to happen, but it was kind of like a it was kind of like an intangible finish line as to like when this thing would happen. Whereas once I got the cover, I was like, oh shit, like this is really starting to come together. And then, you know, like within a few weeks of getting Jeff's artwork, how everything just kind of like coalesced in like this perfect storm of like, all right, well, this is really happening, and it's happening
Yeah.
very fast. It was like getting Jeff's artwork and finalizing the cover with him really just kind of like propelled everything forward and made me feel like, okay, this is go time. This is on, you know? Whereas like reading the stories, because it was like such a long process, it didn't really have an opportunity to hit me as like, okay, well, this is like, you know, launching a Kickstarter in November. At no point up until getting Jeff's artwork did that really take root in my mind.
I remember when you sent us, like, I don't know if it was Jeff's first draft or the revision, but you sent us like something, and I set it as like my phone background to be like, this is the finish line that I'm working towards. And like after I got that visual of like, oh, this is real, it sure lit a fire under my ass to make it make it happen.
So I have one more question for everybody. I ask this on every single interview. Anyone that's in the chat that's unfamiliar, every interview I go through, I ask the same question, and I created a Spotify playlist of songs that correlate with the theme of the author's story. So I'm curious from each of you, could you go through and give me a theme song for each of your stories in this anthology so I can go through and add those to the Spotify playlist?
Funny enough, we are actually putting together a Spotify playlist where each author has chosen a song that represents their story.
Oh, well, never mind then.
So,
all right.
No. But I want to, yeah, I mean, I know who Greta and Krystle are going to fight over. A certain lady in her
I decided
machine.
not to. Yeah. I decided not to.
Wait, did I submit a song
lot
for
of-
this?
I don't know if you did.
A lot
yet,
of the
Emily.
stories.
No, we haven't finalized the Spotify playlist yet.
Okay. I was
Oh,
like,
so yeah, I was ahead on one thing. I'm really proud of myself.
Way to go, Krystle.
Well, what's the song, Krystle?
Mine is called "Laughing All the Way" by Shaky Graves. He's like an indie artist out of Austin, Texas, and it's got like this really manic energy. Or it starts out kind of folky sounding, and he's talking about like being poor, and so he's laughing all the way to the bank because he can't pay his bills. And then at the end, it just like flips the switch, and he starts the manic energy, and everything kind of falls apart in the process of the song. And I was like, well, yep, that's perfect. So on, even though I was holding a spot, I told Adrian, you can pencil me in for this one, but when Florence and the Machine drops her new album, I might change my mind. And I guess Greta said the same thing, which is why we were going to fight. But I listened for about 3 days, and then I decided no, none of the songs fit this story specifically. They will fit the novel later, but not this story specifically, because Frank is not into his magic just yet, so it didn't fit.
Well, I'm excited to listen to it. I think it's going to be awesome. I love going through and listening to the chaos of the different songs that get brought up during these interviews. So it's definitely fun. So I'm very curious on how the shuffle is going to work with your Spotify, because that's always the fun part about going in there, because I have like theme songs to like 80s TV shows, then I have like screamer music, and then you jump into like the Darth Vader theme song from Star Wars. So it goes all over the place, and it's brings back great memories because I remember those interviews from those songs. So I'm super excited to go through. Yeah, and read your story, then listen to your song, or vice versa. So I really have that emotional connection with the story. Now that's what I love about reading and listening to music at the same time. You really get that connection when you're re-listening to a song. You get that feeling you had when you go through and read a story. So I'm super excited for that to come out. And do you think that's going to come out around the same time the book's going to be released? Are you going to add that into like the back of the book where people can go through and scan the URL right to?
So basically, like whichever version of the book you get, whether you get the ebook or the physical version, there's going to be like a page in the back with a QR code, and you can just scan that and go listen on Spotify, kind of thing. So
awesome.
And MJ is going to research songs. I did not know this was happening, and I am unprepared.
Yeah. Well, mine is it's like it's going deep, but it's basically, I need to figure out though, because it's basically an entire album of one song. So I don't know if I'm going to choose that one, but it's the one that I kind of vibed with for the story. But it's called the album is just called Green by Hiroshi Yoshimura, and it's like a Japanese ambient album, but it has like a lot of like natural sounds to it and a lot of real moody ambiance. So
mine was Everybody Scream by the New Florence and the Machine album.
See, this is like, I struggle with this kind of thing because when I'm writing, I listen to like literally like Animal Crossing soundscapes.
I love it.
Theme at all.
I love it so much.
But I'll find something that embodies it, and I will contribute that.
MJ's is Tom Nook's
like
theme.
literally all the dark things, and like the ones I do are like the YouTube videos where it's like the soundtrack of it, and then you can also hear the little like doop, doop, doop of the little feet.
I love how you're writing like a horror story to Animal Crossing soundtrack.
All the dark shit that I
Holy
write,
fuck.
is what I was listening to.
Wow.
Goodness. You need to add that. Needs to be it. Just make that.
Lean into it.
Okay, disconnect. I'm so confused.
MJ's just like do. Finish my story for today.
And it's death. La la la.
Murder. So much death. La 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 la.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, who hasn't tried to do twisted shit in Animal Crossing? Let's be serious.
See, Nick's on it. It says
balance though, right?
The yin and the yang. I hear you, Nick.
I like it. We'll go with that.
MJ's just like, why are all my characters like trying to get fish? Why are they all trying to catch fish and like trade?
Everyone
with this
needs a hobby, Adrian.
God forbid Death God have hobbies.
Everyone needs like MJ to raccoon in your life to trade some fish with, to buy a house and whatever the fuck else you need to do in your village.
Fair. I support it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, this was a fantastic, fun conversation. I thank you all so much for joining me and for giving us really the inside scoop of the Book of Spores and this amazing anthology. Thanks, for anyone that's watching, either in the chat now, thank you for everyone that's here live. All of you are fantastic. Anyone that's watching the recap, if anyone is interested in supporting this project, please make sure you check out the Kickstarter if you haven't already. I'll have the link and everything in the description below. I also have a link to everyone's author site as well, so you can explore their individual works as well. I really think this anthology it's shaping up to be something really special, and I cannot wait
Thanks, man.
to get my hands on it. So thank you so much, everyone, again, for showing up. And for everyone in the chat, thank you. And make sure you stay overbooked. Appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Thank you all.
And that too